Good morning, everybody, whoever's here. Make sure your videos and cameras are off, and you're on mute as usual. Well, we're very lucky today. We've got Danielle and Becky, two graduates from Christine Blundell Makeup Academy. I mean, we've had in the last few weeks, we've had makeup designers, makeup artists and stuff, which has been really, really good. But I think I'm looking forward to today. I think because, you know, I know both graduates very well. But I think for people who are listening, who want to, you know, are thinking about doing a course or thinking about theatre or whatever, Becky and Danielle really will hopefully answer lots and lots of questions. And remember, do start writing your questions down for us so we can ask Becky and Danielle. Well, Becky, you're up there, so would you introduce yourself and say who you are and what you do, etc.?
Hi, I'm Becky. I'm makeup artist and wig assistant. I've been working, well, I left the college 3 years ago, so I've been working mainly in theatre since then. I've worked on An American in Paris, The Lion King, Harry Potter and Mamma Mia. And yeah, just been doing wig and makeup for theatre shows.
And Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I currently work at Lion King. I left the school 2.5 years ago, started in a makeover studio and did a few things with film and worked at Motown as a deputy assistant, Strictly Ballroom, and now, yeah, Lion King full time.
One of the questions that I want to ask, because I don't remember, but I think I do remember, when you came to do the course, both of you, Becky and Danielle, did you think about theatre? Was it, you know, I want to do a makeup course because I want to get into theatre? And if not, when did it, what was the word? When did it get into your head, the idea to do that? Becky?
I originally thought film and TV, but then once I realised that theatre was so hands-on and you learn so much, during the course I decided that I definitely wanted to do theatre at some point.
And was it doing the theatre, the few weeks of theatre that we do at the course that made you that made that transformation, that change to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I think just doing all the wigs, I just sort of fell in love with hair, and I didn't realise how much I enjoyed that until I did the wigs and the theatre side of the course. And also having Giuseppe come in from the National, I think
National, yeah.
He did a really good sort of character makeup day, which I loved as well. So yeah, I think that was.
I must admit, I'm sort of similar there as well. When we were doing, you know, in setting up the school, I don't know, not coming from a makeup background, I kind of thought theatre, and I just thought theatre, you know. And it was only when you start talking to the makeup artists working in theatre, and it was like, well, what do you mean theatre? You know, the National, the Royal Opera House, ballet, dance, modern, Shakespearean, you know, musicals. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh wow, there's actually so much, you know, so many different genres, so many different things that you can do. That I mean, personally, I think it's if not my favourite, but one of my favourite modules that we do. Danielle, I think were you similar? I don't think you had a thought of theatre, did you, when you started?
When I started, I was just hoping I'd like the course and like makeup. I got in on a gamble. No, I was really open-minded when I started the course. I didn't want to go in with a particular goal. I just wanted to soak everything up. Like when Giuseppe came, I guess I was reminded of theatre because I come from a performance background. So I know theatre. I was a professional dancer for 9 years. So I knew that environment appealed to me because I'm comfortable with it. So I would definitely say like midway through the course, I had my eyes on theatre.
Oh, you did? Okay. I'm just sort of getting questions coming in. I'm talking about. Is the actually one from Nadia Stacey actually? Is the industry as you expected, or have you been surprised by anything, Danielle?
Is it as I expected? Again, I was quite familiar with the environment, so it was really exploring it from a different angle. So I wouldn't say I was surprised because I know the environment. So no, I wasn't surprised. I was actually very happy to be there and was really lucky to always be in a job with a really nice team.
I think I was a bit surprised. I was surprised at how much responsibility I was given. I was going straight in with principal characters, and the people trusted me, which I was my heads of department, and I was really grateful. And they would teach me everything, and then they'd be like, "Okay, we trust you. Off you go." And that I just was so grateful for, and it really boosted my confidence.
What was that job, Bex?
American in Paris.
Uh-huh.
So I was there as a show person, and they said, okay, you have a week to learn this plot, and if you can do it, then the job's yours. And I was just so scared and nervous, but they really pushed me, and I just thought, I can't believe that they let me do this.
Let me loose on the main principle.
Yeah.
I mean, is this a similar, because of the different jobs you've done? I mean, is it a similar thing of like, okay, this is what needs to be done, and you have to jump, or was it an American, or have you experienced that, Danielle, at all as well?
Was that to me?
Yeah. I mean, about jumping in.
If the environments are different completely, you mean in comparison to like film or anything else?
Yeah, but also about, as Becky was just saying, like, just jumping in and giving principal characters and just, going.
No, but each one is so different. And I think naturally when you apply for a job, they expect that you can jump in and do something to some degree. With film, I mean, when you just start out, we're just out 3 years and 2.5 years. So you're not exactly going to be working on a principal. So you start and you go and you observe and learn from the artists that are there. And little by little, you'll be given responsibility. I think the most jarring experience was when I started in the makeover studio because it was just like, okay, they're here, go. But excellent experience because you don't know who's coming through the door and you need to act like you know what you're doing. And different faces, male, female, different ethnicities, etc. And then in theater, they are more forgiving because this is a live show. They can't afford for you to mess up, So they're going to give you some time. With each show I was on, the time was different. Maybe for some it was 3 days. So you go with your notepad and you take all the notes you need to make because when they say they're leaving you, you just have your paper and your memory. With Lion King in particular, they usually give you 2 weeks because you're doing wigs and makeup. And again, yes, it's live, and they just want to make sure that you have everything, that you're comfortable. They want to make sure you're comfortable. No one wants to make you feel uncomfortable that you don't do your job properly. So yeah, it depends on your environment and what their expectations are of you, and how much they can lend someone else to kind of guide you.
It does seem that when you sort of mention that it's live and it's live and it's live and you got to, and I think people sort of almost forget that. And I know it's silly to say that, you're on stage and of course it's live, but there is that, and would that be almost like a drug, that intensity of like, it's now, film somehow, there's the crowd room and then we go into, then, they go into on set and then there's time. There seems to be a lot more time on film. In theatre, it's kind of, that's it. The actor's gone on stage. It's all over.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. You want to make sure everything is glued because you might not see them for another half an hour. Everything is set because naturally you don't want your work to fall apart on stage. So yeah, you have like intervals where you can actually go and fix something. So yeah, you have you don't have the time, but then also just got very distracted. Go ahead, Bex.
I think with timing, it's very hard because you're relying on everyone to do everything on time, so the show goes up on time. So if your actor's late because they've been in a rehearsal and you usually have 20 minutes with that person, now you've only got 10, but they're not going to give you an extra 10 minutes because you need it. That's it. You've got to just do it in 10 minutes. And when you've been doing it every day for a year, you realize actually you can do it in 10 minutes when you really have to. So that's, yeah. That's,
but all that's going through your head is, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to mess up.
And they're going, I need to go. And you're like, okay, give me a minute.
It sounds incredibly stressful. It sounds really almost like, well, it's not a nightmare. And I'm sure that adrenaline must be exciting. But like you just said, Bex, they're 10 minutes late. It's not your fault. And there's no point of you standing there sort of pissing and moaning going, well, it's not my fault. They were 10 minutes late. It doesn't matter. You've got 10 minutes now. You haven't got 20, you got 10.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
Oh dear.
And it's amazing because everyone does it and it's always on time. And yeah, it's great.
Have you had, when we talked about, when Danielle mentioned about, make sure that, the wig, the hair, it's all sort of stuck on and stuff. Can you, obviously not everyone can be on the wings and the sides and stuff to see. Do you have a monitor? Can you see what's happening backstage or wherever you are?
Yeah, we had on Harry Potter, actually. We had a monitor. But it's usually sort of a shout out around the building, can we go to stage? And then you'll just have to run from wherever you are.
Oh, gosh. Alice is asking, would you recommend going into theatre for someone that is not confident with hair?
Yeah, I think it makes you confident with hair, because you're around it all the time. You're putting the wigs on every day. You're setting, you're dressing, and it just forces you to be better.
Now, neither of you, if I remember, had any hair experience before you started at the academy. Was that right?
That's right.
Because it's amazing. Because you both then, with no. You probably hadn't picked a wig up or anything, and then to finish a course and then to go, I'm going to go into theatre where, as you said, Bex, it's very, very strong on, it's all about the wigs.
Yeah, I, like Danielle, I was a dancer before, so I used to wear wigs, so I was kind of used to sort of putting them on myself, but never had put one on someone else, especially not that quick. So yeah, it was a good day.
I don't think we did the speed wig things with Suzanne when you two were there. I think that came later. Did you?
That was big excitement in the class because I had to win. It was great.
That's unlike you, Danielle. Oh, Simone's just saying yes, we did.
Simone!
Because I remember, and it was Suzanne talking, and I said, well, how long, for the wig change? And I think she said 35 seconds or something ridiculous. I'm like, no, don't be silly. And so, the girls would do it, she wouldn't do it, and it would be an hour, a minute and a half, couple of minutes, and she did it, and you do it in 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
On Strictly Ballroom, I think that was the most nerve-wracking one, because not only did you have, for example, like 30 seconds, those pieces were heavy, so that thing would fly off and knock somebody out if you didn't get it done properly. And it's funny because you also have to be forgiving. Yes, you have 35 seconds, and that's quite literal sometimes, but as you get to do it, you might even be finished in like 10 or 20 seconds. But then as someone new comes in, you almost have like this like pep talk, like, listen, let's not disturb the flow. But it comes with time. It comes with time.
The first time you watch a plot, I think everything is just so quick and so fast, and it's terrifying. And then the second day you go in and you watch it again and you're like, okay, it's not that bad. And then you do it and you're like, oh, it's so quick. How am I going to do this? And then eventually you can have a cup of tea. And you'll be like, oh, that was so easy.
Well, I suppose it is. You get used to, like with anything, you get used to it. But I mean, you know, if you could describe on the wings, it is the wings, isn't it, on the side? Is it just you with your little tray of pins or wigs and stuff, or do you have space? Is it bright? Is it, you know? Try and give us a little picture of that side, what it looks like. Danielle.
Well, I think, people for a tour backstage are always surprised at how little space we have. You have to make it work, and it's not just you and your private little section with your actor. It's you being bumped and probably trying to get a pin and wardrobe fixing something or changing them. It's such a team effort and in a small space, so you become acquainted very quickly.
Yeah, there's no space in the wings for where Harry Potter, and I just remember telling someone, okay, you have to stand in this Zimmer frame, and then you wait for this person to come past you, and then you wait for that person, and then you go, and then you step back, and it's like choreographed, especially with the dresser as well, that you have to speak to the dresser and say, what are you going to do? Okay, I'll do this.
Well, Becky, is really true. Everything is so choreographed. Even when you're learning the track, they're like, no, you stand here. No, shift right there. And you just follow it. And yeah.
You move at the wrong time, you could get run over by stairs, a giant, anything.
It's just, it's kind of, you know, it's almost on one level opposite to film. You know, like, I go back to that crowd room or you know, that space and time on a film. Okay, TV's probably less so, but that film space and time, and it's almost pedestrian, leisurely, and an utter luxury, you know. And again, thinking about a theatre, these theatres are 100 years old, so they're not catered, I don't know, for anything or those kind of things. Gosh, it does sound, it's
actually like our wig room or the makeup room, they're not designed to have 100 wigs and 5 people in there. They're tiny places, and you're constantly just like trying to work in this tiny space.
Chris is asking, how did you get your foot in the door with theatre and stand out enough to get noticed? Becky.
So I was on the group on Facebook, West End Wiggies, and Jade Clark was looking for a show person, and I didn't really know what that was, but I applied anyway. And I got an interview with her just from having CBMA on my CV, I think. And yeah, I went in and had a chat with her, and she was lovely. And I think just showing your personality in the interview, because you've already got through the door on your experience. So the interview is mainly just about being yourself and personality.
Yeah. I went theatre to theatre with my CV, and nobody called me back. It was in practicing stuff at home and posting stuff that someone saw something that worked at the theatre and said, you should come in for a test. That's how I got into one. And actually, since when I got onto Lion King, I didn't have to test for anything else. These things have weight, the same way CBMA has weight. They go, okay, she's a graduate from CBMA. She has this standard, you know? And then the same thing with shows. Oh, she's worked on this. She has this standard. So, yeah.
But it's sort of, yeah, I mean, you both, but again, it's that being proactive and you know, I think being brave as well, you know, both of you, and Beck's about, you know, like, you know, applying for a job, but you don't even know what the title is, what it means. And an average person would probably go, oh, no, I can't, I don't know, I'm not ready, you know, but it's just kind of like, right, I'm doing this, go, jump. Yeah, like I always say, jump, and then as you've jumped in, then panic, but don't panic beforehand. You may as well panic once you're in there.
Yeah. Just having the confidence to just be yourself and just know I can do this, and I've trained professionally for this, and that, you know, once you leave there, you are ready to do the jobs out there.
And you don't have to be confident to be competent, you know? When I went for my interview at the Lion King, I nearly pissed myself at Starbucks. Can I say that on this? I did. And actually, my friend, I was talking myself out of going. I was like, why would I go? I just graduated. You know, I really was not going to go, and my friend threatened my life, and I went. But just to say, you don't have to be confident. And I went in, and they were lovely. They're not expecting you to do it like one of their artists. You know, they'll let you know, this is what I wanted to look at. And then only in time, I asked my boss, what were you really looking at? Because obviously I'm not going to get it perfectly. And even conversing with other heads of departments, all they're really looking for is that you have a good eye. So they can give you a picture, and if you see a diagonal and you come with a vertical or horizontal, it might not go well for you, you know, but they're just testing. Are you listening to instruction? Are you looking at this? Are we seeing the same thing, etc.?
Becky, would you add to that?
Yeah, everything Danielle said, and also just how are you going to fit in with the team, because they've been together for a long time and they're all gelled, and are you going to come in and mix with them, or are you going to, like, I don't know, that's the part of the interview that I think maybe people struggle with, is because they're so nervous, they don't really know how to just be themselves, and then people aren't sure how they're going to be around the actors and how they're going to fit in with the team. So just sort of relaxing and just being calm.
I think that too, sometimes when people come in and they're new, they overcompensate. Like, they want to come across really relaxed and they come across really overfamiliar. So I just think that's something that maybe the prospective students should just be conscious about.
I think that overcompensation, I see that sometimes as well, and it's almost better to be kind of, slightly more shy than the opposite way, you know.
And hey, love. Okay.
Yeah, I'm someone that will just kind of sit back and be friendly and not say too much until you're sort of comfortable and you know what the level of the room is.
Yeah.
I suppose it's that thing of almost, it's probably best not to think too much, because if you overthink for any situation, going for this job or going for a job interview, you're going to kill yourself, because you're in such a fluff anyway. And it's kind of like, then you're just going to just make it even worse. I used to always struggle with breathing. So my voice is okay, but, and then the breathing, and so, because I couldn't breathe properly, I'd just be panicking. It's awful.
And sometimes, because I've heard a boss say this before, that someone was super talented, but she knew that her personality wouldn't fit in with the team. So sometimes don't take it too personal or an attack against your work. They know their environment, they know their actors, etc. So they're going to know who would fit in well as well.
And I've had friends that have said, oh, I'm terrible at interviews, I'm always really rubbish. And then someone has come to me and said they were the best person I've ever interviewed. So you don't know what your first impression is to someone else.
No.
You want to be yourself. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
Oh, no, go on.
You want to be yourself because you want them to see your personality, because you don't want to be in a team that you've signed for a year and you don't like it, you know? So trust their judgment that you'll fit into this team or not, because you're in for a year. Yeah, you can give 2 weeks notice, but you don't really go for an interview to leave after 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Is there, I wonder if that intensity, it's a small, and I'm guessing, I don't know if it's a small team, and because of the environment, it's smaller, so it's much more intense. So, and I know you have to get on with your team, at school, on a film, wherever. But maybe is it more intense, that relationship with your cohort, with your working team?
I way prefer the environment in theatre. I think it's so family-like, because you're together 6 days a week. Okay. I love it. I love my job and I love my team, but that's really important to make sure you also like the team, because you're with them 6 days a week and you form relationships, etc. So I prefer that. To me, film and TV seems a bit like you either know people from past jobs, etc., or it feels a bit colder to me. That's just my experience.
I wonder if it's because it's bigger, maybe because film's bigger and there's lots of maybe smaller little groups. There's lots of little groups inside a film, rather than a theatre, it's just the one family, the one team possibly.
I think because you do the same thing sort of every day, you walk past the same people every day. So you know, stop and have a chat with this person at this time, and then you'll go to the next point and you'll know who's going to be there, and you talk to that person. How was your day? How was last night? So that's what I like about it, is that you know where everyone's going to be and you make friends that way. And then if someone's not there at the time they need to be there, you know something's gone wrong. And like, where is that person?
It's quite cozy, actually. Sounds really quite nice. We've got Sadie's asking, do you both live near the theatre where you work in London? Or do you, is it a struggle to commute?
Am I rich and live in Covent Garden? No. It's just a half an hour commute.
I live outside of London. I live in Stevenage, so Hertfordshire. And I think a lot of people are like, whoa, that's really far. But it probably takes me the same time as people in London, about an hour.
You should have just said Hertfordshire, not mentioned Stevenage.
Sorry.
We'll edit that bit out for you.
Yeah. Hertfordshire.
There's a question, but there's one question coming up about the technical language for theatre, but I'll ask that later. Some other questions were coming in of, what made you choose CBMA? So I know it's an internal question, but yeah. And there was another, what research did you do before joining? So maybe answer both of them at the same time. I'll ask Becky first, Danielle, so it'll be more gentle.
So I was looking for a change of career. I didn't really know what to do. And my sister works in film, and she had said to me, you really like hair and makeup, you should look into that. So I was like, okay. And she went round to all the makeup artists on the film asking what school that I should look at, and they all said CBMA. So I didn't really do much research because I felt like everyone in the film industry had told me this one was the best, so that's what I did.
Trusted your sister.
Yeah.
And that was it. So it was as simple as that.
Yeah, pretty much. I came to see you and I had a look round and we had a chat, and I just felt like this was the place that I wanted to go, and felt really comfortable and had really good recommendations. So
good. Danielle, I think you had been to some places, other schools as well, to look at and stuff.
Yes, and I also was looking at places in the States. Initially, the States, but after speaking to someone that works in the industry, she made a very good point, just for anyone that's looking to go abroad. When you're studying, you're creating a network, and when you leave and you come back, you don't have anybody. So I would say choose, first of all, a country that you know you want to work in, and then two, yes, I was quite conflicted between Delamar and CBMA, to be honest. And Peter was very charming. And after the tour, and again, speaking to someone that's already in the industry, I decided to go with CBMA because they have smaller groups. And trust me, when you are training, you want that one-on-one attention. You don't want that there are 40 of you in a group and you have to be waiting 10 minutes to ask if your eyeliner looks okay. You know, you want a smaller group. And then also, one, you're networking, you're getting to know each other, I guess, more personally, because it's a smaller group. And also, you are more visible to your teacher. So when you graduate, they might be like, you know, I liked that girl in the corner, even if they don't remember your name. At least they remember you were in the corner. It's a smaller group.
So that's a lot helpful. Sophie is asking, did you find the training that you received at CBA, was it sufficient to get started in theatre?
Yeah. Everything that I learned, that I know, I learned there, and then I've learned as I went along. The theatre, just doing the quick changes, knowing how to put a wig on, doing all the hair wraps, everything prepares you for going into theatre. That there was times when, like on my first show, everything was pin curled, all the wraps were pin curled, and I didn't do a wrap hair prep for about 3 years, and I had to go back to my notes and look, how do I do this? Because I watched them do it, and then I went home and had a look at my notes and was like, okay, I need to go over this, because I hadn't done it since college.
But it's like, I think any, as we always say, you're being trained. There's an infinite amount of time, to sort of teach you the skills that we think that you're going to need. And you start at zero. You start, even though you mentioned, Bex, how you sort of jumped in at the deep end almost. But as Danielle's saying, you've got enough skills to get you in the door, and to begin the process. And I'm sure at each different show you do, you're learning new skills and you're picking up, you're learning every day, surely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'm being paid to learn when I'm in theatre, because every day someone new will come in and show me something different, and I was like, wow, this is like a free lesson that I'm getting.
And is there time and space that the more experienced makeup artists there sort of show you to things?
Yeah, well, on Harry Potter we would have day shifts, so I would be there in the day, just me and one other person, and we would do all the roller sets and dress out all the wigs. And if I was like, oh, I'm not quite sure about this, someone would come over and be like, oh, this is how I do it. So you have that time in the day to learn and get better, and then the time in the evening is the quick, let's go, we're going to do this now.
Mm-hmm. And theatre is the perfect place to hone those skills, because you're doing it over and over. And also, just to bring the point that it's a team effort. They're not going to say Danielle's hair or makeup looked bad. They're going to say that hair and makeup on the Lion King looked bad. So the team has to work together. So my team may say, hey, Danielle, maybe you can try this. I'm doing this as if I set a wig. I don't. You can do this or this better, because you want to be a strong unit.
Well, that's good to know, actually. That's encouraging, should I say. One question's coming: what positions are there in theatre? Like in film, is trainee, junior, makeup artist. How does it go in theatre? Because it sounds a bit loose at the moment, but do let me know what. Yeah. So what are they? Trainee, junior? What's the terminology?
4 positions. There's head of department, deputy head of department, a wig or makeup assistant, and then a deputy wig or makeup assistant. The deputy, they're also known as swings. Now,
the term swing, is that, I see when someone says I'm swing, that means, for me, it means that they go to Lion King, to Harry Potter, they swing everywhere. Is that right?
That's the goal. That's great if you're swinging everywhere, because you're picking up a whole bunch of skills. I think it's such a good thing, especially when you're starting out in theatre, to start as a dep. I started as a dep, and I'm so happy that I did. One, you're networking with several different units, companies. You're picking up completely different skill sets. And then later, when you're ready to settle down with one for a bit, then do that. But that's exactly what swinging is. They'll call you when maybe someone's on holiday or they're sick. You just come in and you may learn all the tracks, or you may learn one. Yeah.
Is deputy, Becky, is that like would that be a trainee position, would you say?
You mean a swing?
Yeah, or the deputy, the position that Danielle mentioned.
A lot of experienced people like to swing just to sort of create their own schedule and do different shows and get the variety. But also, yes, if you don't have any experience, there might be one sort of easy track that a show might be like, okay, let's give that to that swing. We know that they can do it, and it's less pressure, and they'll give you the time to learn, because they're not expecting you to do it straight away. If you need the week to, like on Lion King, Sarah would be like, okay, we'll get this person in, they can learn for a week, and then they can do it next week, so we've got the time to teach properly.
So there is, and again, because of that pressure we talked about earlier, there is those moments or space and time to kind of yes, you've had a week to learn, but you still need a bit more time. They are forgiving.
If they know they need cover in a month or two, they'll start looking for someone to train up. And if you don't have as much experience, they'll be like, okay, we'll give this person the time they need so that they are ready.
And obviously, the way that Danielle mentioned, you know, once you've got into one of the theatres, it's that much easier to sort of get the second one and the third one, I dare say.
Yeah, I think once you've got one show on your CV, they know that you've been capable of doing that. And if it's a show that sort of relates, like, oh, okay, they've worked on Lion King, they'll be able to do the makeup on Harry Potter. That helped me, for sure.
I suppose, yeah, it does do. Martha's just saying how you're both very inspiring. So that's me and one of you. I'm not sure which one you use.
Thank you.
Well, on the Martha thing and her question and stuff, for someone wanting to work in theatre, what would your best advice be for them? Whoever wants to go first.
May I have a moment to think?
Yes.
Oh no, I want to think. Okay, that's advice. I think for me, being friendly with everyone really helped. When I was Lion King, I was just telling my friend, he was a dresser that I'd been working with, and we got on well. And I was like, oh, I've applied. And he said, oh, my friend Debbie works on that. I'll send her a message. And he really, really helped me. He gave me a great reference. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have got the interview. And that was just because we got on well, just working together. So yeah, just everyone knows everyone. So just be really nice.
Well, I suppose that's, you know, and we can teach wigs and pin curls, and we can teach all these things. But that thing I always say to people is just be yourself and be normal. And normally it's not good to be normal. You know, it's kind of boring being normal. But being normal is good. I mean, obviously we had challenges with Danielle when had me. But it's that thing of, you know, just being normal, you know, just being calm, normal, the team player, all those things that we constantly keep saying. It's true, isn't it? You know, you just said it, Bex. You know, what advice would you give, Danielle, if it's different at all?
Again, be yourself, be normal. Just go in and really want to be the best you. I don't know that I have advice particularly for theater. I think anyone just looking to figure out what avenue, I think don't go after a job. Just keep your eyes on your passion. I think your gift will always make room for you. If you're passionate about prosthetics, keep practicing prosthetics. Beg Peter to take some home and practice and do lots of pictures and put that out there, and someone will see it or go and apply to whatever. But don't let a job be your focus. Focus on your passion, because, you know, someone might like you, but your skill is not going to keep the job.
I think that's a really, really good thing to say there, Danielle, about keeping an eye on the passion, because by doing that, you're reconfirming everything, you're honing on your skills, and through that passion, you will get a job, you know.
Absolutely.
And research the show and the makeup, and everything's out there sort of on the internet. When I was going for the Lion King audition, there were so many YouTube videos on how to do it that I watched them all. I'd practice on someone, and then, you know, you go in sort of having an idea of what's going to be happening in the interview, because you've seen it all and researched it all.
I remember you coming in, Bex, actually, and saying that, and you was doing.
Please, can I borrow some paint?
Yeah. Remember Giuseppe brought in Michael, who designed Lion King. Did he come for Becky? Did he come for one of your courses to teach? No,
he didn't teach me, but he was around when I was there.
Michael, who designed Lion King.
I think he was in the group after us.
Oh, was it after? He was very, very inspiring, I have to say. And it was almost that sort of philosophy of Danielle's about, you know, the passion and the kind of sort of background work, rather than the the actual kind of, focusing on the look, focus on all the other things around. And as you said, Bex, practice, research. I suppose the technical question would come in now that a few people have asked. Technical language, and sometimes even in film, it used to be quite daunting for me, I remember. But I think there seems to be, is there a strange theatre language that you learn, or did you know this language before you started?
No, people would talk and I would just be like, nod, okay. And then in my head, I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, the offs. I was like, oh gosh. And then I just follow someone and then I would slowly work it out for myself what they were talking about.
But you could have asked, couldn't you? I dare say.
Yeah, I could have asked, but I was just like, oh.
Is that the same for you, Danielle?
When you want to start something, you don't want to come across as someone that doesn't know something. So you just smile and nod, and hopefully you don't mess up. But I'm not saying to do that. Yeah.
No.
I'm saying all this. I did exactly the same. I'll go and ask, line producer. I'm like, yeah, I'll go and ask. I'm like, what does that mean? And I suppose you just don't want to look like you don't know. What are the terminologies that? Mentioned a few that we can laugh at.
Some terminologies.
Well,
the language.
The offs are the cast members that aren't in that day. They might be holiday or sick, and there'll be the swing cast members or like understudies that will replace them. So when you realize that, okay, this person's off, you have to go and find the understudy's wig and you'll replace it. Hopefully it'll be an identical match. Sometimes they're not, and you have to find something completely different and remember what that understudy has different to the other one.
What would be your favourite show that you've worked on? Tracy has asked.
You're not allowed to ask those questions while we're in employment.
Mine have been all different, so I can't really compare.
I suppose they are very, very different, really, aren't you? Particularly, yours, Bex. Potter, Lion King, American in Paris. I mean, they really are so varied.
Yeah. I loved working with all the grease paints on Lion King, and the show was so fun and happy. And then Harry Potter was a play, so it was very different to be somewhere without sort of a music like always going on. And the wigs, it was mainly wigs, but then also great makeups as well, which are sort of more body kind of stuff. So I can't pick.
And obviously, it's the Lion King for you, Danielle.
Of course. This is my Miss Universe answer. I absolutely love the Lion King. That is true. And I loved working on Strictly Ballroom. And I don't know why they closed, because it's a fantastic show and super funny.
Well, it is a shame. I suppose back to yours, Bex, in such different styles and different periods and completely different. The wigs and the things that you did were very different as well. Were the skills that you needed to bring to each play very different?
Yeah, very different. But also you get shown and you get taught, like, okay, this is the way we want it done here. So everywhere will have a different way of doing something, which is great because you learn different techniques as you go.
Is it Joanna? Was Joanna at Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Actually, I think I see Joanna. I think Joanna's listening. Joanna, say hello, Joanna. If it is the same Joanna, I got it completely wrong. Tell me your usual day, Danielle, at the Lion King. I've been asked.
The usual day. Okay, for one show day, you'll come in at 5:30. Then you have an hour, and that's usually to just make sure you've set everything that you need for when your actor comes in. Every show has their track sheet, so you'll have different responsibilities before you actually start with an actor. So you just have to make sure everything is set, make sure you have your paints, your brushes are clean, your space is clean. And then we usually have a little bite to eat. And then we have our principal actors come up first. You have half an hour to 45 minutes with your actor. And then maybe you'll have a second principal. Some of them have two principals, some of them have one. Then you have some ensemble come up for their makeup. And then once the show is up, you either have your second principal or you go downstairs. And that's when you're in the wings or in the bunker and you have your quick changes. Because everyone's already set, but now, you know, the characters are changing, etc. So sometimes you'll have to change the paints. And then, yeah, pretty much that's what you do downstairs. And then you go upstairs, there's the interval, and you go and check your actors in the interval to make sure that the makeup isn't smudged and the wigs are okay. And then afterwards, pretty much everyone's downstairs and you have your different cues because, like I said, the animals are changing, people's characters are changing. By the way, Mako is watching and she's coming to CBMA and she's in the show. Hi, Mako.
Hi, Mako.
Oh, I emailed her the other day, funnily enough. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely girl. How many, I mean, hello, she's saying back. How many cast are there, Danielle? Or what's the largest cast that there is on stage?
I don't know.
Was it, there's lots?
40-ish.
Wow. Well, that's a lot.
That sounds about right. I'll go with Becky.
If you include like the people that are off stage in the building in case there's an injury or someone goes off.
And what about your average day? Was part of that was the last play you did, wasn't it, Bex?
Yeah, so we had a really good schedule that we would do day shifts. So you sort of come in sort of 10, 11, and then you'll redo all the wigs from the show before. So you'll block them up, dress them, put them on the oven to dry, and that will probably take you until sort of 5-ish. And then you would have a break for dinner. And then you would come back and the actors would come up to your wig room and then you would start doing the hour call. And I think I had about 4 or 5 people to do in that hour, and that would be sort of hair, makeup. And then once they're ready, you go down to the side of the stage and the show would begin, and then you would just follow cues from putting this wig on, taking this wig off, you do this makeup, and then you're just running around the building basically for the next 3 hours, up and down. Well, you're not supposed to use the lift, so there's a lot of stairs in these buildings, and yeah, you're just running back and forth, just changing characters. Especially in Harry Potter, there was actors that played 2 or 3 characters throughout the show, so they were constantly getting new wigs, new makeup, on, off all the time.
Because of the lift, would that be because maybe you've got a wig in your hand and you get stuck in the lift or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
The lifts, well, the places I've worked in tend to break down, so you don't want to be stuck in there and you've got a wig that someone needs.
Oh,
Peter, we have all put on weight since this lockdown, okay? Because we do not have the stairs.
Got to get back into shape, into practicing. Stephanie is asking, do any actors do their own makeups, and do you provide oversight and touch-ups?
For the Lion King, the principals, no, we do their makeup. The girls would do their basic beauty makeup, and they're taught that at the beginning of their contract. And naturally, as we're always downstairs, we will keep an eye to make sure it's the right lipstick and right eyeshadow, etc. But they are taught before. And any other shows that I've done that it was primarily wigs, they're also taught how to do their makeup and supplied with the makeup. And you just keep an eye to make sure that it's still with the vision.
Is that because of speed and time, Danielle?
I would think so, yes. There's a lot of cast and it's foundation. and eyebrows and some eyeshadow is really not complicated, because our main focus is the paint.
Yes, yes.
Just so that you're not washed out when the lights come on.
Would that be the same, Bex, for you?
Yeah, so all the principals, we did their makeup, but the ensemble would do their makeup. And when they're sort of the little kids in the school, they don't really have that much makeup because they're supposed to look like they're 11. So most of them did that, but all their wigs we would put on.
I suppose that makes sense. Well, we're running out. Gosh, I can't believe it's an hour. Is almost up. Would you veer? Are you happy to stay in theatre, or are you thinking of coming into film and TV and moving somewhere else, or what lays ahead for you? I mean, there was a couple of questions, obviously, about with COVID and what's happened. Obviously, things have changed, but are you looking at moving elsewhere, Becky?
So yes, this was my plan for 2020, that I was going freelance and I was going to do theatre and still try and I would like to do like crowd dailies on films, which I've done a few of before this all happened. But I always want to do theatre. I think I'll always just keep coming back. I really enjoy it, and I love it. So I will branch out, but I think I'll always come back.
Oh, that's so lovely. Danielle?
I'm very happy and content where I am, so I wouldn't be going anywhere anytime soon. But I mean, I'm not going to map out my life. If I feel like my heart's telling me to go and open a surf shop, I'm going to do it. But right now, I'm very happy where I am.
Believe me, she will open a surf shop.
Yep.
Very determined. It's just, I mean, it's lovely to talk to you about all this, because as I said earlier at the beginning, I love theatre, and I love, the module that we teach and stuff. And it's sometimes it's an overlooked thing, particularly in the hair and makeup, or maybe people think is it stuffy, or I don't know, so every person that comes to the would-be student, I really almost kind of try and sell the theatre and think about theatre. We've got one girl hopefully joining, and she's the passion for theatre. So it's so lovely, to hear that, and it's so lovely to hear both of you having that. I love the theatre, and yes, I might branch out into film and bits, but theatre is my love.
Yeah, I think what I love is just the people are just so lovely and friendly, and you just feel really safe, and that helps you learn and grow because you feel comfortable in your team, and no one's going to judge you or like make fun of you, because everyone's there to like help you. And I just felt really comfortable, and everyone I've met has just been lovely. So yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Listen, I don't think we could end on a sweeter, nicer note. Becky and Danielle, thank you so much. I hope all of you that have been listening, I've enjoyed it anyway, and hopefully it's interesting, and it will give you some passion, desire to get into theatre more, or doing a course or whatever. But girls, lots and lots of love, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.